I think it was about 4:30 in the afternoon, I believe. And so I pull in front of our house, which is facing down street, and I noticed smoke coming across the street. So I'm sitting in front of the house, I'm getting around to get out of my truck and looking for my pager, which I didn't have with me, and I see people running towards the house. That was the unusual part. That's the part that spiked me. I got in my truck. I'm not sure why. I just didn't get out. I'm trying to go down, but I drove down. And as I pulled in front of the house, I could see smoke pushing from the windows on the second floor. The windows in the back were tarred over. I noticed the window pane on the second floor must have been the kitchen window just started to pop loose when flames were starting to shoot out of there. So I got out of my truck. Two of the city police were on the scene who know me very well. I said, "Chief, we got somebody stuck in there yet. She's trapped." And that's the last thing I wanted to hear. Now you're in I wasn't in panic mode, but I didn't have all my tools. Didn't have my gear. Didn't have an air pack, the stuff we rely on every day. All I had was a portable radio. So I got on the radio, started making a couple calls to the 911, so to let them know what the status was of the situation. We had a fire on the second floor. We have one out. We believe we have one or two trapped inside yet. So I looked at the house, and I said, there's only one doorway in the front, and went into upstairs, the second floor apartment, and went into a first floor apartment. Out comes walking a gentleman out of the house, out of the second floor, and he smoked pretty good. And I asked him, who's inside? And he just said, my wife, she's on the second floor. So I ushered him out to the officer standing beside me, and I went in and went up the steps. Everything is black, soot black. I mean, to the point where you could feel it sticking to your face, my hands, popping, cracking, explosions of aerosol cans. Who knows what's in the kitchen? It's chaos. I'm like, well, she's in there, I'm gonna try and get her. So I got on my hands and knees, started crawling, and then I noticed the carpet was burning. It was coming out towards the hallway, towards me. Got in there a little bit, a couple more feet, couldn't do it. It just wasn't gonna happen. Kind of upset, I couldn't make the second floor, come back downstairs, and all of a sudden I can hear sirens. They're 4 minutes away, but it seemed like a half hour. About that time, I heard a banging on a window on the second floor, and you could just see the window moving. I'm like, she is still alive. And about that time, a gentleman from around the corner comes running with a ladder. So he throws a ladder, he says, go Chief, get up the ladder. So up the ladder I went, took my portable, kept smashing against the window, and she was beating it on the inside. And I just kept telling, get back. And I kept swinging it and kept swinging and kept swinging. But once it popped and cracked, it was a double pane. I think that had a lot to do with it. Then it fell right out. You could see the orange, you could see the fire coming down the hallway to the window, which is what it does. We're giving it air. I could hear her in there coughing, but I couldn't see her. And I kept yelling, come to my voice. Keep coming to my voice. And I turned around to Officer McGee, who was beside me on the roof. I said, grab my belt, I'm going in after her. And I just kept reaching for her. And finally I felt her. And I said, McGee, he's a cop, I said, just reach in here and grab something. And we pulled her towards us. And about that time, that fire was probably 3 feet from that window at that point. We pulled her out of that window and got her on that porch roof, and I thought she was dead. The first external breath was smoke. She was burnt in the side of her head a little bit. Hair was singed. So I sat her there, and I just tried to keep her talking, keep her conscious, because I want her to keep moving air. We're stuck on the porch roof now. Can't get down. So eventually the guys get to the point where we got ladders thrown, keeping her awake, get her a ladder, and we got her down off the roof. I learned a lot that day about myself and about probably the respect I may have lost a little bit for fighting fire since I took on the job as an administrative chief, because I'm not on the floor, I'm not in the street as much doing it. Makes you think.
You know, some say firefighting is a calling. I don't know if it's a calling, but I think when you get into it, you get into it heart and soul. I think I'd like to say that just about every firefighter out there, I think the reaction would be the same, but the stay with itness, if that's the right way of saying it, I think I just wonder about, because, you know, there's a fine line in between saving a victim and becoming a victim, and knock on wood, thank God, you know, things worked that night. You get up there, it's pitch black. You're not seeing anything. You know, you're on instinct at that point. And thank God for her, his instincts were perfect. That is what our award is all about. It's to honor those who go above and beyond what would be expected of him. And certainly the chief went above and beyond what would be expected of him in full turnout gear, far removed from the fact without gear on a Sunday afternoon. It's not something typical people do on a Sunday afternoon.